Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. So, I had one of my viewers asking me about how the divorced choke setups work on the old school carburetors. So, in this video, I'm going to go over a little bit about that. With this type of setup, we've got our choke thermostat that mounts on the intake manifold and a rod that attaches to the carburetor and operates the choke. We've got a vacuum diaphragm. When the engine starts, it pulls that choke open just a little bit so the engine doesn't flood. To adjust these, what we want is when we hit the throttle. If you notice right now, the engine's cold. It's been sitting probably for a couple weeks now since it's been running. But choke's open, throttle's closed. We'll hit that throttle once and that choke closes. The correct adjustment, you'll unhook this rod here and it'll just barely close that choke. It's pretty important that your heat crossovers aren't blocked off in the manifolds. With the high performance setups, a lot of people like to block off the crossover and the intake. That exhaust heats up as it comes through the intake manifold, heats up the choke and causes it to open. Now this one, this is a Mopar. It's got an electric assist that goes along with it, and a wire that attaches, and this just gets hot from the ignition switch when it's turned on. So I'm going to go ahead now and start the engine and let you all watch it warm up and watch how that choke works. Now this one's going to warm up a little bit slower because it's got headers on it. The original exhaust manifold had one of them butterflies in it that would remain closed when it was cold and actually increase the flow through the intake manifold. That is a drawback to headers with this type of choke setup. But if you watch, you'll see that choke opening up slowly. And this diaphragm right here pulls that choke. That's why that choke opened up just a little bit when the engine started. This one actually wouldn't hurt if that fast idle was just a little bit higher. And that adjustment is made right here. See this cam in here, it actually operates off of the choke, and you'll see when it warms up, when we kick it down, that cam will drop and allow it to set on idle. Kind of boring sitting here listening to an engine go on fast idle, but not a whole lot else we can do in order to see this operate. It usually takes about 5 minutes or so for it to come up to operating temperature. The choke, that is. See how that butterfly is starting to come open a little bit more. There's a heat coil on the inside of that down in here that picks up the heat from the exhaust, and in this case it's also got an electric coil that heats up. It's actually getting a little warm, and it rotates, and it causes that rod to come down and pull the choke open. Just about there. Kick the throttle, and now we're down to idle. As you see how this cam here is adjusted by this screw, and it holds it open for fast idle as the choke opens. So here's what the inside of that choke thermostat looks like. If you see, it's got this bimetal spring that's attached to the rod, and the heat reacts with that spring and allows it to move. I'll go at it here with a heat gun and show you. You can actually see it operate similar to how it would in the car. See how that spring is moving? It's not moving the rod because it's just sitting here all funky in my hand. But if you see that spring move when I hit it with that hot air, and see it actually, well, I'm not keeping this in frame very good, but if you see that, it allowed that rod to move, which opens up the choke. See that moving with the hot air hitting it? And that's how one of these actually works. Well, there you go. Hopefully that helps you understand a little bit better how these choke systems work. This one I demonstrated was off of a Mopar, but you know, the Fords, the Chevys, even the Japanese imports and stuff, back in the day that had these external choke setups, they all work basically the same. So, hope you got something out of that. We'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching. Later.